Hello, leaders. Welcome to LeaderBoard, where every leader can come to grow, learn, discuss topics that matter, and hear from other leaders. Today's topic for the LeaderBoard is decisiveness. Decisiveness is a foundational skill that a leader practices throughout their life and careers. Each leader should identify their why when making decisions and use that as their compass as they navigate each decision. This can be a personal code of values, ethics, or guided by a mission or vision. For example, the Veterans Health Administration has a very clear set of values and a mission that can be used as your compass. The LeaderBoard team has developed a model that can be used by any level of leader to help decipher the puzzle of decision-making for results. We call this the Decipher model. The Decipher model is a 5-step cyclical process that can be used for any type of decision that a leader would have to make. This model was developed based on research that includes review of leadership studies, best practices, interviews with current VA leaders, and podcasts including Audacity to Fail with Dr. Richard Stone, among others. Throughout this discussion, we are going to use a telework example to demonstrate execution of the Decipher model. Since the COVID-19 pandemic, telework has been at the front of our workers' minds, and we need to be positioned as an agency to leverage virtual modalities. The Reboot Task Force has also identified telework as an option to reduce employee burnout. But before we jump in, let's meet the team.
Hello, I'm Tony Claiborne with Visit 19 and the Salt Lake City VA healthcare system. Today I'll be discussing Define the Problem.
Hi, I'm Madeline, Bicknell, a social worker at the Eastern Colorado Healthcare System, and I will be talking about involving others.
And I'm Kimberly Fox, an audiologist in the Oklahoma City Healthcare System, and I am your expert in courage and quickness.
Hello, I'm Gretchen Olson with the Montana Healthcare System. I will be talking about how to implement.
Hi, I'm Allyson Armstrong, and I'm a physical therapist at the VA Salt Lake City Healthcare System. I am your expert in follow-up.
And I am Donnalee Burch from Sheridan VA Healthcare System. I am an innovation specialist, and I will be facilitating our topic today.
Well, to get things started, I wanted to speak on our first stage of the model, which is Define the Problem. The decision-making process can be defined as a process of making choices by identifying a decision, problem, gathering information, and assessing alternative resolutions. To make a decision, you must first identify the problem you need to solve or the questions you need to answer. We must clearly define the root causes of a particular issue or issues. If we misidentify the problem to solve, or the problem you've chosen is too broad, you'll knock your decision train off the track before it even leaves the station. So within the decision-making process, there are 3 conditions that need to exist. Number 1, we have choices. Number 2, we have a limited resources which prevent us from pushing all the choices simultaneously. And number 3, we have a goal to achieve.
So tell me, Tony, what questions should we as leaders consider while we are defining our problem?
Well, Donnalee, some of the questions that I like to consider are, number 1, what's the goal? What are we actually trying to solve? What are our priorities? Are there any other issues that have a greater impact? What are the alternatives? Do we have other viable paths to consider? And what are their benefits? What's the objective reasoning behind the issue? How would the decision affect the big picture? What's our base for moving forward? What's the information? Do we have all the available facts to be considered? And last but not least, the people. How will it impact our team members? And can we gain their buy-in?
What is something we should be careful of, Tony?
Well, with our proposed issue, the employees teleworking, we must be careful not to fall into what I call the anchoring trap, which is where our personal beliefs overshadow the issue or it distorts our perspective on the telework issue.
During the decision-making process, it is important to involve others to provide input and to support the process. By involving others, you're able to consider different perspectives, viewpoints, and gain additional knowledge and information. In the Audacity to Fail podcast, Dr. Richard Stone was a proponent of involving others. Throughout his podcast, he discussed that he prefers others in the room that have differing ideas than he does, versus people that are consistently agreeing with him, which I think says a lot about him as a leader.
Can you explain what this could look like for us?
If we are looking at the decision of allowing employees to telework, you would first want to consider veteran care. If you're providing direct patient care, are the veterans you serve able to use care by virtual modalities? And are the decisions that you are making always considering the VA mission and acknowledging what is best for patient care? I transferred from the Marion VA Medical Center in Southern Illinois And at that medical center, every conference room had an empty chair with an embroidered poem on it that a veteran had wrote. At the beginning of the meeting, we would acknowledge this empty chair as a symbol for the unspoken veteran, to remind you to make decisions as though the veteran was there in the room with you. And would you make the same decision if the veteran was in the room?
That's a great point, Madeline. What else?
And the example of allowing employees to telework, other key stakeholders to include would be providers, colleagues, IT, and making sure to include your input from someone above and below you. A poor example of involving others would be over-reliance on your first thoughts.
There goes our anchoring trap again.
Exactly. In this example, a leader would immediately say, yes, I think telehealth is a great idea and we can support it without involving others to gain their input.
Okay, so I have defined my problem and I have involved everyone that touches the problem, including the empty chair, our veterans. What now?
I got this part, Donnalee. Now it's time to take that leap and decide. This is critical in separating mediocre leaders from great leaders. In times of uncertainty, all eyes are on the leaders. And great leaders will thrive on this uncertainty because it creates an opportunity to make a positive impact on the people around them. But no amount of data analysis or projections will make the decision for you. Data comes from looking backward, and decision effectiveness is based on looking forward. But projections aren't predictions. There will never be enough to ensure and enough data to ensure that any one decision is correct. This is the time for courage. And when I think of courage, I think of the cowardly lion from The Wizard of Oz. He believes that his fear makes him inadequate, when in reality, true courage is acting in the face of that fear. It isn't until he meets the wizard that he understands that the courage has always been inside of him. But not only do you need courage, you also need confidence and quickness.
Wait a second, Kimmy. Quickness? Collecting information and data can take time. What if I don't have all the information?
It's true. You do need information and data, but being timely and efficient is critical. Dr. Stone's advice is you don't have to get to 100% on any decision. Just get to a greater likelihood of success than failure. Essentially, get to 60% on any decision, then run with it. This will also create an environment of continuous learning where it's okay to take risks. In turn, you'll avoid the status quo trap where there's no forward progress. We must accept that we won't make the best decision every time. Another great leader, Theodore Roosevelt, said, in any moment of decision, the best thing you can do is the right thing, the next best thing you can do is the wrong thing, and the worst thing you can do is nothing.
I love that.
Yes, I agree. A leader that doesn't do anything is failing. So Gretchen, tell us, what is next?
Happy to, Donnalee. It's time to implement. Decision implementation is where thought moves to reality. For the implementation phase, consider what actions need to be accomplished to bring your plan into the action state. Just like gardening, there are tasks that need to be done before other tasks, each working towards a final goal, a finished product. For implementation, you will consider a strategy and a direction to move in. As a leader, you will consider your current state, consider your goal, where you desire to be. Think about the tools and resources your team needs to meet the goal. Also consider the barriers, how you will overcome them.
Can you explain strategy and direction a little more, Gretchen?
Yes, happy to, Donnalee. Think of strategy like stratigraphy, the study of geographical strata. Consider the last time you marveled at witnessing rock layers. The bedrock layers, those are the strongest layers. At the bedrock of a clear strategy are the values of the company. The VA Eye Care values keep our strategy, mission, and direction clear. Our goal is to provide veterans with the highest quality of healthcare possible. Direction is more of a process that includes layering each step upon the other. 1. Set clear goals and define key variables. 2. Determine roles, responsibilities, and relationships. 3. Delegate the work. Involve teams by including them in the process and assign work based on team members' strengths and abilities. 4. Execute the plan and monitor the progress and performance. Remind your team about their organization's mission and use the mission to drive the project forward. You will also decide on how you are going to measure success at that point.
Don't forget those measures.
That's right, Allie. So tell me, we have defined our problem, involved others, considered our empty chair. We have courageously moved forward and implemented our action plan. It would seem we would be done, but we're not, are we?
No, we are not, Donnalee. While this is the last part of our model, it is important to follow up with your decision in a cyclical way. You will need to touch base with each step of the model like a baseball player rounding the bases. You may decide on a specific time based on the scale of the decision. Do you need to follow up daily, weekly, monthly, or just yearly? Initially, your decision may require more follow-up, tapering to less as your decision shows signs of success. Who you follow up with will be determined by Madeline's section on involving others. As you follow up with your determined team, examine if anyone was left out of the decision. How you follow up matters. Remember to follow up using appropriate communication styles. No one likes a meeting that could have been an email. Consider how you follow up with your team based on your communication strengths and your team's preferences. What you follow up on will determine how you measure success. As Gretchen discussed, these will be predetermined measures based on your defined problem and the implementation of your decision. These measures can be qualitative or quantitative. Appropriate data monitoring will help show if your decision is leading to the right results. Don't strike out with the confirming evidence trap, though. Leaders who look for information or data that support their decision and disregard data or information that contradicts their decision or viewpoints. This can lead to failure very quickly.
But what if we fail? What if our follow-up shows that we made a wrong decision?
We can't be afraid of failure, Donnalee. If your results point you in a new direction, remember Kimmy's brave lion and have the courage to refine your decision based on the new data. If you must refine your decision, own your mistakes, and move quickly to implement the new decision. This is where leaders can flounder in their follow-up.
Great points, Allie.
And there you have it. Define the problem, involve others, courage and quickness, implement, follow up, and don't forget our empty chair. By using this 5-step cyclical model, you, our leaders, have a tool that can assist you as you make decisions that will forge a better future for the Veterans Health Administration.